It's about time to rank the Wave 6 courses in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Booster Course Pass DLC. I know I'm late to the party, but I wanted to take my time gaining proper experience with the courses rather than playing them once and ranking them all on the first day. That way, my ranking will be more accurate to my long-term thoughts. What can you say? I'm just a very thoughtful guy. I'm excited to share my rankings with you all because I'm that type of person whose opinions often deflect the opinions of the majority. The reactions can be quite entertaining if I say so myself. This is probably gonna be the type of video that people share and say, what the heck is this ranking? Anyways, I will admit that it was very difficult to come up with a ranking for this wave's courses. None of these picks are horrendously awful. I find joy in all of them, so consider most of these to be very close regardless of where they stand on my ranking. Before we get into this, be sure to hit that sweet subscribe button and like this video if you would like more DLC ranking videos. This journey has been such a blast and I would love to continue discussing it as the hype stays alive. It would mean a lot. Anyways, time to begin. Number 8. Wii Daisy Circuit. Everybody loves Princess Daisy, but does everyone love her iconic course from the Wii? Now, don't get me wrong, the map has beautiful visuals, the music is outstanding with the new harmonizing instruments, and it's genuinely fun to race on. But all of that covers up the fact that this map is just a flat circuit track, making it a terrible choice for Wave 6. The map doesn't have much going on at all. They didn't even bother to add any obstacles to it. It could have easily had a reverse final lap like DS Peach Gardens does, but nope. They added dash panels, which I guess is something, but not a game changer. Overall, it's not a bad map, but you would expect way more for a basic map that is in the final wave. If they wanted another Wii course, it could have been Dry Ruins. Number 7. GCN DK Mountain. Yes, a huge fan favorite course is extremely lower on the list than you expected. Here's why. It definitely stems from bias because in the past, I didn't really like this map at all. I found it to be really boring and bland looking. It also feels like a really redundant choice, regardless of its popularity because there are quite a few courses in the DLC that are similar. DK Summit is a prime example because these two maps have the exact same sequence. You glide up a mountain, descend it, and use half pipes during the descent. And I just like DK Summit way better. It felt unnecessary to include DK Mountain after all of that. I know my words won't change anything, but I really wish we got Dino Jungle instead. While I still think it looks bland in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I definitely don't think it's boring anymore. I just find it to be decent at most. I put this above Daisy Circuit because at least it's not a basic map. It may be similar to a lot of other maps, like I said, but there's still chaos here that upholds its inclusion in Wave 6. Next up, we have all three tour tracks. They happen to be back-to-back at 6, 5, and 4 on this list. Piranha Plant Cove, Madrid Drive, and Rome Avanti, respectively. I thought it's a great opportunity to discuss the tour tracks together, so let's get into it. I'm gonna skip straight to number 5 and come back to number 6 later. Tour Madrid Drive, our favorite Spanish city, allows us to visit a variety of world-famous landmarks, such as the Bernabeu Stadium, Prado Museum, Retiro Park, and more. There's just so much going on here, and you simply can't get bored when racing on this. It even has 3 different songs, the normal variant, museum variant, and stadium variant. My personal favorite is the museum variant, even though we only hear it for a literal femtosecond in-game, but we don't talk about that. One major flaw about this track is that visually, it's not very pleasing. It wasn't very touched up compared to the other recent tour tracks in the Booster Course Pass. It looks like it belongs in Wave 2 at most. It doesn't help that it has the generic daytime setting either. It looks like a hybrid of Berlin Byways and Amsterdam Drift. You'd think for a Wave 6 track, especially the final tour track of the game, visuals would be more impressive. While they do suck, everything else about Madrid Drive is great. Now, at number 4, we have Rome Avanti, my favorite tour track of the wave. This course is a fine combo of classy and complex, which is what I love about it. It appears so fine and serene. But don't judge this book by its cover because instead of a fine evening stride across town, you're in for the wildest ride of all time. I love how wacky this course gets. You are constantly in action because of how many turns there are. Just look at the minimap. A lot of people dislike the complexity it holds, but I'm a fan of it honestly. I will admit that the second lap is very weird at some parts, but it's not enough to bring it lower than Madrid Drive. This map also has far better looks than Madrid Drive. In my opinion, it's one of, if not the prettiest city courses in the whole DLC. It actually looks like a Wave 6 track. To be honest, Rome and Madrid are pretty much tied for me. Madrid takes points for music and variety, while Rome takes points for complexity and presentability. Both of them get points for gameplay. I just put Rome higher because if I had to choose to remove either Madrid Drive or Rome Avanti from the game, it would be Madrid Drive. Finally, let's go back down to number 6 to discuss Piranha Plant Cove. I actually have nothing against this course at all. It's just that it doesn't have much going on in comparison to the cities. I did put it above DK Mountain because at least it doesn't feel bland, and I like the adventure by the sea. It has so much more life to it. At last, we are done with the tour tracks. Let's hop all the way back up to number 3. Yes, Wii Rainbow Road. Everyone else's favorite course of all time, but not my favorite course of all time. I find it to be a bit overrated, if anything. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this course and I'm happy that it was included in the Booster Course Pass. As someone who grew up playing the Galaxy games, I really adore the fact that it has references to Super Mario Galaxy in-game, even though it visually doesn't represent the game very well. I just love the gimmicks in this course overall. And I gotta mention that the map looks absolutely amazing. It definitely looks like a base game map. I'm so glad it wasn't based off of Tor's visuals because it was very hideous in that game. The music is really pretty too, but I don't know if I like it better than the original one. It's still refreshing to hear it in all its glory. Overall, it's a really good course, but it's not my favorite course. It's not even my favorite Rainbow Road. I will admit that it was the perfect course to end off the Booster Course Pass, and its inclusion was very well deserved. Number 2. Oh, yeah, this map rocks. I was absolutely blown away by this map in literally every aspect. How is this an SNES course? There's anti-gravity, crazy elevation, and it's very action-packed. If you didn't know it was an SNES course and you looked at it for the first time, you would not be able to tell at all. This is objectively the biggest SNES map glow-up of all time. First of all, I found so much more joy in this map than I thought I would. The alternate paths are a joy to have, and it is extremely challenging on 200cc. My favorite part is definitely the anti-gravity section and leading to the area with the castle walls. Second of all, the music. What the heck? I was not ready for such a banger soundtrack for this course at all. The electric guitar is absolutely everything and it truly adds to the Bowser's Castle feeling. It's a great way to pump me up for the race. Again, for an SNES course, they did a great job with the music as well because the other SNES courses still kept the simple vibes from the original, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but Bowser's Castle 3 did the better thing. Third of all, it's just great to finally have a Bowser's Castle retro in the game now. SNES Bowser's Castle 3 blew my mind. It's complex and powerful, which makes it far more enjoyable than Wii Rainbow Road for me, despite being way shorter. Number 1. Glorious glaciers, cold caves, and shining stars construct my most marvelous map of all time, 3DS Rosalina's Ice World. This map showed up at the door without invitation, but you know what? It deserves to make the entry. It's my favorite map of all time, so I will admit that it's up here purely because of my bias, which shouldn't be a problem because it's my ranking after all, but allow me to justify its placement. Ever since the Booster Course Pass was announced, I always knew that Rosalina's Ice World setup would be perfect for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's physics and gameplay. From driving around a hole to driving on top of an iceberg as you avoid falling into the water below, and in a beautiful cave with a split path. And boy was I right. They even went as far as adding half pipes and a new shortcut. I absolutely love the amount of strategy you need for this track, such as shortcuts, reaching the iceberg after it falls off, deciding which path to take depending on the condition of the race, and more. Overall, the map has great gameplay. The map also looks stunning. I'm really glad they brought back the dark aesthetic because in Mario Kart Tour, it had this really ugly bright aesthetic which was just not very pleasing at all. I'm also a fan of all of the Super Mario Galaxy elements because as I mentioned before, I grew up playing that game. This is essentially the closest we'll ever get to a Super Mario Galaxy themed track. The music is another thing I love. It sounds much more dramatic and it gives off way better Rosalina and Super Mario Galaxy vibes than ever before. So yeah, that's my justification for number 1. Either way, why wouldn't I love this map? My favorite game is Super Mario Galaxy. My favorite levels in Mario games are typically the ice levels. I love penguins if my channel profile doesn't make that obvious. And I play the piano, which is kinda irrelevant, but there is a piano in the music. Rosalina's Ice World just binds all of my interests together, which is what makes it really special to me. So yeah, that's my full ranking of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass DLC Wave 6 courses. I really hope you enjoyed it. I would love to see your guys' rankings, so leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.